We all have the right to pursue happiness. But what happens when pleasure becomes the very cage we can't escape? We live in an age where almost everything can be bought. Comfort, convenience, satisfaction, instantly, with no waiting. One tap to see more. One swipe to chase something more fun. A pill, a video, a new bag, and the dopamine rush follows. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, are the pleasures we're chasing truly making us free? Aldous Huxley, in his novel Brave New World, envisioned a world where people weren't chained by fear or violence, but by comfort. A society where sadness was forbidden, where everyone seemed happy. Yet no one knew what meaning was anymore. Today, we're unpacking one of the most seductive traps of modern life: slavery disguised as freedom. Because once we become addicted to feeling good, we start losing our capacity to think deeply, to face reality, or even to suffer in order to grow. If you're ready to confront the dark side of pleasure and understand why comfort might be slowly destroying you, stay with us, because this truth might change the way you see the world forever. Nearly a century ago, Aldous Huxley foresaw a chilling future, one far more insidious than George Orwell's brutal tyranny in 1984. While Orwell warned of a world crushed under authoritarian repression, Huxley's vision in Brave New World was far scarier. A society so drowned in pleasure, so seduced by endless entertainment, that rebellion would never cross anyone's mind. No need for chains or whips. People would willingly embrace their servitude, mistaking it for freedom. Huxley predicted a world where we'd be too distracted, too pacified by instant gratification to even notice our enslavement. Huxley's perfect slavery doesn't need torture, threats, or surveillance. It thrives on something deceptively simple: pleasure. When pleasure becomes life's sole purpose, servitude disguises itself as liberation. In Brave New World, citizens are conditioned from birth to crave constant distraction, to flee from any discomfort. The moment unease, doubt, or existential dread creeps in, they pop soma, a flawless drug that numbs pain and keeps them docile, smiling, and compliant. Sound familiar? We may not have soma, but we have its modern cousins: Instagram Reels, TikTok binges, dating apps that erase rejection, and algorithms that feed us exactly what we want before we even ask. These aren't just conveniences. They're tools that train us to avoid silence, introspection, or anything that challenges us. This conditioning is subtle but relentless. Every notification, every swipe, every quick hit of validation rewires your brain to expect instant relief. Bored? Scroll. Sad? Stream. Anxious? Shop. We've been taught that discomfort is the enemy, that any void must be filled immediately. But here's the trap: by dodging pain, we lose the ability to grow. Pain builds resilience. Struggle sparks growth. Silence fosters meaning. Without them, we become fragile, dependent, and manipulable. Exactly what Huxley warned about. A society addicted to pleasure doesn't need to be forced into submission. It willingly hands over its freedom for the next distraction. Why does this matter? Because this isn't just about wasting time. It's about losing control of your autonomy. When pleasure rules, critical thinking fades. You stop questioning the system, or the world around you because you're too busy chasing the next high. Huxley's genius was seeing that true control doesn't require force, it requires addiction. And we're living in that dystopia now, where the search for meaning is drowned out by cheap thrills, where we're not coerced but seduced into compliance. But is this world really fiction? Think about your daily life. Whenever you feel boredom, sadness, or frustration, what is your first reaction? Do you stop to understand that feeling? Or do you immediately seek a distraction? Social media, series, food, Alcohol, shopping, sex, pornography, games. The list is endless. We live in the age of instant gratification, where any discomfort can be smothered in seconds with a touch on the screen. You never have to face the void, just fill it with another dose of pleasure. And the most dangerous part? It all seems to be a choice. No one is forcing you to consume entertainment 24 hours a day. No one is making you waste hours on Instagram or TikTok. No one is pointing a gun to your head and saying, buy this, eat that, keep scrolling. But if this is a choice, why is it so hard to stop? The answer lies in conditioning. When you get used to seeking immediate pleasure to relieve any form of discomfort, your brain learns that this is the standard solution. Over time, you lose the ability to deal with boredom, with silence, with introspection. Your mind becomes incapable of being alone with itself, and without realizing it, you become exactly what Huxley predicted, a happy servant, imprisoned not by force, but by pleasure. But why does this happen? How does conditioning teach us to avoid any critical thinking and keep us trapped in this addictive cycle? This is what we will explore in the next part. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Have you ever wondered why it is so hard to stop? Why? Even knowing that you should focus on something productive, your hand automatically glides to your phone, your brain begs for a new notification, a new video, a new stimulus. This doesn't happen by chance. You have been trained for it. From the moment we are born, we are conditioned to avoid discomfort at all costs. The educational system does not teach us to think critically, but to repeat information. The job market programs us to produce, not to reflect. And the culture of entertainment delivers constant distractions so that we never stop to question the world around us. The sum of all this creates a society where the real threat is not an authoritarian government prohibiting freedom of expression, but a system that makes us completely lose interest in seeking it. Huxley understood this better than anyone. In Brave New World, citizens did not need to be brutally repressed. They were taught to love their own slavery. From childhood, they were subjected to love their own slavery. From childhood, they were subjected to processes of hypnopedia, messages repeated during sleep, shaping their beliefs without them realizing it. Phrases like, everyone belongs to everyone, and a gram of soma solves everything, were etched into their minds. To ensure they never questioned anything, they grew up believing that happiness lay in conformity, in avoiding any deep thought, in fleeing from any shadow of suffering. Now think about how this reflects in our reality. Today's conditioning doesn't happen through hypnopedia, but through social media algorithms, corporate marketing, and the flood of stimuli that shape your behavior without you noticing. Every time you receive a notification, your brain releases dopamine. Every time a short video delivers a new piece of information effortlessly, you get used to not having to think for yourself. And every time you are rewarded for conforming, whether through likes, social validation, or immediate pleasures, you reinforce the idea that this is the right path. The effect of this? An entire generation of people incapable of being alone with their own thoughts, incapable of dealing with discomfort, incapable of questioning the system because they have simply lost the habit of thinking critically. In the end, a dictatorship is not needed to control the masses when they themselves reject any idea that requires mental effort. But this rejection of critical thinking comes at a price. When we avoid discomfort at all costs, we end up becoming more fragile, more manipulable, more vulnerable. Constant pleasure weakens us, and manufactured happiness can turn us into increasingly passive beings. But how does this happen? How can the promise of a world without pain lead us to complete submission? This is what we will explore in the next part. Imagine a world where no one suffers, where all pains are quickly erased, where there is no sadness, frustration, or anxiety. It seems like paradise, right? But now look closer. What happens to someone who never faces difficulties? What happens to an entire society programmed to avoid any discomfort? The answer is simple. It becomes weak. Huxley understood this trap with chilling clarity. In Brave New World, happiness was guaranteed by the constant consumption of soma, the perfect drug. No side effects, no risks, just immediate pleasure. But what did this happiness really mean? It meant that no one knew how to deal with pain, frustration, or even their own consciousness. Any uncomfortable thought was dissolved in a chemical dose of comfort. Life was an endless sequence of superficial pleasures, sex, entertainment, consumption. And anything that deviated from this pattern was seen as a threat. Now look around you. The modern world may not have soma, but it has its own versions. Social media that offers instant doses of validation, dating apps that eliminate the fear of rejection, algorithms that deliver exactly what we want before we even know we want it. Everything is designed to eliminate any discomfort, any gap, any need for effort. But this constant escape from pain comes at a cost. And that cost is our psychological strength. The brutal truth is that pain has a purpose. Suffering shapes resilience. Frustration teaches us to grow. Difficulty forces us to evolve. But when everything is softened, when all challenges are avoided, we become increasingly fragile. Today, any discomfort feels unbearable. Small failures become existential crises. Minor conflicts seem like catastrophes. Anything that requires patience or effort is discarded because we have been conditioned to seek the easiest path, immediate pleasure, quick solutions, and this makes us easier to control. A society of strong, resilient individuals who accept discomfort and learn from it will never be docile. It will never accept living under a system that limits its freedom. But a society of emotionally dependent individuals who need constant stimuli to avoid emptiness, who flee from any form of suffering, that society will be obedient. It will be manipulable. It will be the perfect society for those who want power without having to resort to force. And this is how the trap closes. What seems to be freedom, the ability to avoid all suffering, actually transforms into our prison. But there is a way out. To escape this cycle, we need to understand the difference between pleasure and purpose. Because while pleasure can enslave us, purpose can set us free. And that is exactly what we will explore in the next part. What are you really seeking in life? Happiness or meaning? Pleasure or purpose? The answer may seem obvious, but have you truly stopped to reflect on it? Modern society has trained us to believe that happiness is the ultimate goal. But what does it offer us as happiness? An endless sequence of fleeting pleasures. Likes on social media, impulsive shopping, casual sex, binge-watching series, ultra-processed food that gives us a spike of pleasure and then leaves us empty. All of this keeps us momentarily satisfied, but never for long, and that is the key to the problem. Pleasure is always temporary. It needs to be constantly renewed, or the feeling of emptiness returns. Now think about the most significant moments of your life, those that truly shaped who you are. Were they moments of instant pleasure or moments of challenge, effort, and overcoming? Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote in Man's Search for Meaning that human beings cannot live without purpose. He observed that even in the worst possible scenarios, those who found a greater meaning in their lives were the ones who managed to survive and maintain their sanity. And here lies the paradox. The pursuit of constant pleasure weakens us, while the pursuit of purpose strengthens us. Pleasure is easy, immediate, and addictive. Purpose, on the other hand, requires effort, discipline, and resilience. But unlike pleasure, purpose does not disappear once the effect wears off. It builds something within us. It gives us a reason to keep going. But modern society does not want you to seek purpose. Purposes take time to build. They require introspection, effort, and above all, resistance to suffering. And all of this goes against the logic of immediate consumption. An individual who finds purpose in life does not need constant distractions. They do not feel the need to fill every second of their day with superficial entertainment. They are not easily manipulated by false promises of instant happiness. And that is exactly why we are constantly bombarded with stimuli that divert us from this search. Because a person with purpose is a dangerous person for a system that thrives on our emotional dependence. So if you feel that something is missing in your life, perhaps the answer is not more pleasure, but less. Perhaps the path is not to seek more distractions, but to eliminate the excess of them. And the question you need to ask yourself is, what truly moves you? What makes you get out of bed in the morning? Are you living off disposable pleasures? Or are you building something that really matters? But how do you escape this trap? How do you break the cycle and regain autonomy over your own mind? That is what we will uncover in the next part. Now that you understand how the relentless pursuit of pleasure can keep you trapped, the most important question arises: how do you escape this trap? How do you regain control of your own mind in a world that does everything to keep you distracted, doped, and emotionally dependent? The first thing you need to understand is that this is not an easy fight. The system is designed for you to fail. It wants you to keep seeking quick pleasures, to keep feeding the algorithms with your attention, to keep consuming endlessly. But there is a way out, and it starts with your decision to become aware of the game being played against you. Are you truly free? Or are you a willing prisoner in a world that keeps you hooked on pleasure? Aldous Huxley warned us in Brave New World of a dystopia where people don't need chains to be enslaved. They're so addicted to entertainment and instant gratification that they never question their servitude. Today, that vision feels eerily real. From endless social media scrolls to binge-watching marathons, we're conditioned to chase fleeting pleasures, avoiding discomfort at all costs. But this pursuit isn't liberating, it's a trap. In this video, we'll uncover how to break free from this cycle of control, reclaim your autonomy, and build a life of purpose. If you think you're in charge of your mind, keep watching. You might discover you've been a voluntary slave all along. The first step to escaping this trap is strategic deprivation of pleasure. This doesn't mean swearing off joy or living like a monk, but consciously regulating your exposure to addictive stimuli. Pleasure itself isn't the enemy. It's how it's weaponized against you. Social media, ultra-processed foods, compulsive streaming, these are engineered to keep you craving more. Try cutting them out for a week, even a day, and watch what happens. Your brain, flooded with dopamine for years, will protest at first. But then, something remarkable occurs. It recalibrates. You start finding joy in the small things: a quiet walk, a real conversation, the taste of unprocessed food. The relentless pull of artificial stimuli weakens, and you begin to reclaim your attention. This isn't deprivation. It's liberation from a system that thrives on your addiction. The second step is rebuilding your tolerance for discomfort. Modern life trains us to flee boredom, frustration, or silence as if they're threats to survival. But true autonomy demands you face these feelings head-on. Start small. Sit in silence for 10 minutes without your phone. Let boredom wash over you. Resist the urge to scroll or snack. At first, your brain, wired for constant dopamine hits, will scream for a fix. It's like withdrawing from a drug. But if you persist, you'll discover a powerful truth. Discomfort doesn't destroy you. It strengthens you. Boredom sparks creativity. Frustration fuels growth. Silence reveals insights. By embracing these states, you break the conditioning that keeps you tethered to instant gratification. You become someone who can sit with the void and not flinch. The third step is cultivating critical thinking. Ask yourself, why do I feel compelled to distract myself constantly? Who profits from my addiction to pleasure? What could I achieve if I weren't trapped in this cycle? These questions are revolutionary. They peel back the layers of conditioning that make you think your habits are choices. Social media algorithms, marketing campaigns, and entertainment industries aren't neutral. They're designed to hook you, to keep you consuming without questioning. The more you interrogate your impulses, the clearer it becomes. Many of your desires were programmed by a system that benefits from your passivity. Critical thinking isn't just mental exercise, it's rebellion against a world that wants you docile. By questioning, you start rewriting your destiny, choosing your path instead of following one laid out for you. The fourth step, and the most transformative, is replacing pleasure with purpose. Pleasure is fleeting. It spikes, then fades, leaving you hungry for more. Purpose, on the other hand, endures. It's the antidote to the slavery of instant gratification. But finding purpose isn't easy. It requires you to ask hard questions. What truly matters to me? What do I want to build? How can I make my life meaningful? These aren't Instagram caption platitudes. They're existential challenges. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote in Man's Search for Meaning. That purpose is what keeps us alive, even in the darkest times. Think about your life's defining moments. Were they the quick thrills of a like or a purchase, or the hard-won victories of effort, sacrifice, and growth? Purpose demands discipline, resilience, and a willingness to endure discomfort. But unlike pleasure, it builds something lasting, a sense of direction, a reason to rise each morning. A person with purpose isn't easily swayed by cheap distractions or false promises of happiness. But here's the catch. Even if you start breaking free, the world around you won't. Society is steeped in this pleasure-driven cycle, and when you change, people notice. Some will admire your clarity, your focus, your refusal to be manipulated. Others will push back, hard. Why? Because your transformation holds a mirror to their own complacency. When you stop chasing dopamine hits, you become a living challenge to their illusion of freedom. Friends might call you boring, family might say you're overthinking, colleagues might mock your self-improvement kick. They'll try to pull you back, insisting there's nothing wrong with endless scrolling or mindless consumption. But their resistance only proves the truth. Pleasure without purpose is servitude, and they're still caught in the trap. This pushback isn't just social, it's psychological. Carl Jung warned that confronting your conditioning means facing the shadow, the parts of yourself you've ignored or suppressed. Stepping away from pleasure addiction forces you to confront emptiness, fear, or unresolved pain. It's why so many cling to distractions. They're not just habits, they're shields. But Jung also believed that embracing this discomfort is the path to individuation, becoming your true self. By facing the void, you uncover what drives you, what you're capable of, what you're meant to do. This is the real rebellion Huxley didn't foresee. Not against a government, but against a culture that numbs you into submission. So, how do you stay the course? Build habits that reinforce your freedom. Set boundaries with technology. Designate phone-free hours or delete addictive apps. Seek out challenges that demand effort, like learning a skill, exercising, or volunteering. Surround yourself with people who value growth over comfort, who inspire you to think deeper. Meditate, journal, or walk in nature to reconnect with your inner voice. These practices aren't glamorous, but they're powerful. They anchor you in purpose, making you less vulnerable to the system's pull. The stakes are high. A society hooked on pleasure is fragile, manipulable, and ripe for control. Look at the world today. political polarization fueled by clickbait, mental health crises tied to social media, economies driven by impulsive consumption. Huxley's dystopia isn't coming. It's here. But you don't have to be part of it. Every step you take toward purpose over pleasure is a blow against this system. You become a beacon for others, proof that freedom is possible, even in a world designed to keep you distracted. Now the choice is yours. You can slide back into the cycle, chasing the next dopamine hit, ignoring the growing emptiness inside. Or you can seize this moment to reclaim your mind. It won't be easy. Freedom never is. It means swimming against the current, embracing loneliness at times, and resisting the siren call of instant gratification. But the reward is worth it. A life of clarity, strength, and meaning. You'll become someone who sees through the illusions, who can't be bought, with cheap thrills, who lives for something greater. If this resonates, you're already waking up. But awareness alone isn't enough. Action is. So I challenge you, try one step today. Skip social media for a day. Sit with boredom for 10 minutes. Ask yourself what you'd do if pleasure weren't your master. Share your thoughts in the comments. What's one way you felt trapped by this cycle, and how will you break free? Your story could inspire someone else to start their journey. This isn't just a video, it's a call to arms. Subscribe and join us as we dive deeper into how to live authentically in a world that wants you numb. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next part, where we'll explore how to face the resistance that comes with choosing purpose over pleasure. Because real freedom isn't handed to you, it's fought for. Are you ready to fight for yours? We want to sincerely thank you for taking the time to watch the video in its entirety. If you're interested in exploring more topics on spirituality, inner transformation, or mind philosophy, don't forget to subscribe to the Top Hidden Knowledge channel for more content on wisdom, spirituality, and personal growth. Or if you have time, check out other videos on this channel. Until next time.